Have you ever looked at an African statue and thought, oh, that's just an old carving? Yeah? Well, what if I told you some of those carvings could see you back? Strange, right? But here's the thing. These statues were never made just to decorate huts or museums. They were made to hold something powerful, something ancient. Today, I'm going to tell you why African statues aren't just pieces of wood or clay. They are keepers of secrets, guardians of history, and maybe even witnesses to things you can't explain. So sit back, relax, because once you hear this story, you'll never look at an African carving the same way again. Welcome back to African Storytime with Rita, where we bring forgotten legends, folktales, and true Africans mysteries back to life. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share for others to see. Long ago, before metal tools or written language, Africans were already shaping the unseen world. They believed that everything, trees, rivers, stones, animals, had life in it. So when a carver picked up a block of wood, he wasn't just carving, he was inviting. He would whisper to the wood, asking permission. He would pour palm wine or sprinkle water before touching it. Every strike of the knife wasn't random. It was like writing a secret letter to the spirits. And sometimes, the spirits answered back. There's a story told among the Dogon people of Mali. A young carver named Yoro was famous for his hands. They said he could carve a man's soul just by looking at his eyes. One day, a chief asked him to carve a statue that would protect their village from invaders. Yoro agreed, but on one condition: no one should watch him while he worked. He locked himself away for 7 days. No food, no light. Only the sound of his chisel and the smell of burning herbs. On the 7th day, he came out, thin as a stick, eyes glowing, and beside him was a statue of a warrior holding a spear and staring into the distance. When he touched the statue's chest, they said the ground trembled. That night, thunder struck without rain, and when the invaders came 3 days later, they stopped at the edge of the forest and turned back. They said they saw something standing at the gates. Something wooden, something alive. Now, tell me, was that just art? Or was it something more? Across Africa, these stories repeat themselves in whispers. Among the Yoruba, they say a statue can be the seat of an orisa, a spirit. Among the Akan, it can be a messenger to the ancestors. And among the Shona, it can hold the memory of an entire family line. These weren't toys or decorations. They were bridges between the seen and the unseen. But here's where it gets interesting. Not every statue was meant for everyone to see. Some were hidden, wrapped in cloth, placed in dark corners of shrines. Only the elders or priests could touch them, because they believed if an uninitiated person looked into its eyes, the spirit inside could follow them home. Creepy, maybe, but also fascinating. Now, imagine this. A trader from Europe visits a village in Benin around the 1600s. He sees bronze heads, carved figures, and masks unlike anything he's ever seen. He buys a few, thinking they're souvenirs. But when he gets home, strange things start happening. His wife hears footsteps at night, doors creak open, and one morning, the trader wakes up to find the statue turned, facing his bed. He thinks he's losing it, so he locks it in the basement. But even there, he can feel it watching. Years later, museums start collecting African statues. They place them behind glass, label them primitive art, and forget the power behind them. But the carvers, the real ones, they knew these weren't just decorations. They were contracts. You see, every statue had a purpose: protection, fertility, wisdom, or justice. And if you made a statue for justice, it didn't rest until it found balance. Here's a legend from the Congo you probably haven't heard. There was once a Nkisi figure. Those are wooden statues with nails driven into them. Each nail represented a promise, an oath, or a judgment. One nail meant someone had sworn to tell the truth. Another nail meant justice was demanded. They say when a lie was told in the presence of a Nkisi, its chest would crack just slightly, as if something inside wanted to come out. One man, Mbemba, lied under oath. He denied stealing from his brother. But that night, he dreamed of the statue standing beside his bed. Its eyes were glowing red, and it whispered, "Balance must return." The next morning, his brother's stolen goods were found buried beneath Mbemba's hut. He confessed before anyone asked. Coincidence? Maybe. But for the people, it was proof. These carvings had ears. Fast forward to modern times. Many of these ancient statues now sit quietly in museums across the world. Paris, London, New York, millions of visitors walk past them taking pictures, but very few realize what they're looking at. If you look closely, you'll see scratches, burnt marks, nails, feathers, and clay around their bodies. Those aren't random. Each mark is a code, a story, a piece of spiritual technology. Yes, technology. Before Wi-Fi or microchips, Africans already created ways to store and transmit energy. The statues were like spiritual hard drives, holding memory, emotion, power. And here's the crazy part. Some researchers now believe that the placement of symbols and geometric patterns on certain carvings might have mathematical or astronomical meanings, like ancient encryption, hidden in plain sight. So, were they really just carvings? There's one more story before we wrap this up, and this one still gives me chills. In a small village near Ife, Nigeria, an old woman kept a statue passed down from her grandmother. She said it brought her dreams, vivid dreams of her ancestors speaking to her. When her house caught fire one night, everything burned, except that statue. Not a single scorch mark. She took it as a sign, and from that day, she became known as Mama I, the woman who spoke with spirits through wood. People came from far and wide for advice, healing, blessings, and every time someone entered her house, they said the statue's eyes followed them. Not in a scary way, but as if it was listening. Years later, when Mama I passed, the statue was buried with her. And since then, no one in that village has dared to carve wood at night. Why? Because they say the spirit still roams, looking for its next keeper. So, next time you see an African statue, whether it's in a gallery, on a shelf, or in your grandma's sitting room, don't just see it as wood or clay. See it as a story, carved in silence. A connection to a time when art wasn't just seen, it was felt. African statues are not just carvings. They are language. They are memory. They are power. And if you listen long enough, you might just hear them whisper back. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to African Storytime with Rita, where legends breathe and the past still speaks. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive, and maybe don't stare too long at that statue beside your bed tonight.